Stephen Topham, MEN, obviously you've been campaigning now for a week and it's been a pretty tough week for Labour nationally. Has the Peter Mandelson scenario been coming up on doorsteps over the past week in Gorton and Denton?
Thank you. What has been coming up on the doorstep is the bread and butter things that people worry about. So it's the cost of living, it's the NHS, it's flight tipping and investment in our communities. These are the things that have been coming the strongest from the doorstep.
Of course, yeah, and obviously today there's been the intervention from Anas Sarwar as well. Has that been particularly unhelpful for your campaign?
You know, so far nobody has mentioned it on the doorstep, and it has been a long day on the doorstep. So I started this morning, 9 o'clock, on the knock, door knocking in Abbey Hay. Then we moved into Longsight with Mayor Sadiq Khan. It hasn't come up on the doorstep, and actually I need to have a little look and see what's going on because I've been running around with the campaign.
Yeah, and just on that as well yourself, Lisa and Nandy, what's kind of your views of calls for resignation and stuff like that going around today? Where's your stance?
Well, look, I respect Anas, but I respectfully, strongly disagree with his assessment of where we are. The Prime Minister made a mistake in appointing Peter Mandelson. He's right to own that and to apologise for it. But we were elected 18 months ago because this country needs fundamental change. And if the Epstein files show anything at all, they show the scale of the change that is needed. We need a political culture that no longer protects the wealthy and powerful and puts this country back in the service of working people. That's the promise and the commitment that we made to the British people. If we're honest, I think we do need to take this as a moment to reflect on how we, the culture we have. Are we as inclusive enough as we could be, and are we as ambitious enough for the country as we could be? But we set about doing that work 18 months ago, and we will not stop until we've delivered on that promise for the British people. And that is why the whole of the Labour Party is getting behind the Prime Minister in order to help to make sure that we do keep that promise.
And just a local question as well in Wigan, in Bickershaw, we've seen all that with the piles of rubbish that are piling up there, residents complaining. What do you make of all that, and what's your message to them and helping them, live their lives around that?
Well, it's a really, really appalling example of where communities' wishes and views are overridden and ignored, and where people are treated with disdain. We need to see quick action to clean up that mess so that people no longer have to live with that on their doorstep. I think that all of the agencies involved have been far too slow to act, and we need to get on and sort that out. This is precisely the sort of thing that shows people that the system is not on their side, and we were elected as a Labour government in order to make sure that this country is put back in the service of ordinary working people in all of our communities, including here in Gorton and Denton, and that is exactly the sort of thing that we will not hesitate to call out and to force action on.
Thank you very much.
This facility itself, Lisa, has developed over the last sort of 5 or 6 years. There's others across Manchester and Salford. How important is it for these young people here for the future? Obviously, they can't go to the ballot box in a few weeks' time, but how important are these facilities for the people that are using them today?
Well, we saw an axe taken to youth work and youth clubs over the last couple of decades under the Conservative government, and far too many communities no longer have these sorts of facilities in them. Angeliki was just telling me just down the road in Denton, young people have to travel here in order to get access to these facilities. As a Labour government working with local Labour MPs and a Labour council, we are determined to turn that around and to make sure that every young person in the country has somewhere to go, something to do, and someone who cares.
And just a word, there was a talk in the Sunday papers yesterday about an Olympic bid for the North. What's your position on that?
So I've already been lobbied hard by Andy Burnham and Tracy Brabin about it, and as you'd expect, the Northern Mayors are a formidable group. As a proud Northerner myself, I think it would be incredible to see the Olympic Games brought to the north of England, but there's a long way to go yet.
Thank you.
Are you concerned that trust in the Labour Party has been lost in Greater Manchester?
I think the whole appalling scandal around the Epstein files has shocked and horrified a lot of people. And as the Prime Minister said, one of the things that makes all of us most angry is that most people who go into politics from whichever political party do so for the right reasons, because they want to make life better for people. But I think this is a moment for us in the Labour government to really step up and change a political culture that has protected the wealthy and powerful for too long, and put this country back in the service of working people. We've made a start on that with reforms like the Hillsborough Law that tilts the balance of power back towards working people, but we've got a lot more to do, and I think now is the moment where we really do need to reflect. We need to be more ambitious, and we need to rise to meet the scale of this moment and deliver that change that we promised people 18 months ago.
Are you worried about the prospect of having a Reform MP in Greater Manchester?
Look, I don't want that sort of division in my town in Wigan, and I know Angeliki doesn't want this sort of division here in Manchester either. We've just been talking to young people at this amazing facility who come from every different background, every different community, different walks of life, and they come here and come together and find a home and a community. That's the sort of city that Manchester is and has always been. That's the sort of country that we believe in, and we're always going to fight for that. But we need really good Labour MPs in every community who can stand up for that vision of this country. This really is a battle for the sort of nation that we want to be, and that's why we've got to win it.